All right. Hey guys, I'm Daniel Oliver, sim racer turned real life racer, racing prototypes all around the world. We're here at RaceClub Austin. They've graciously allowed us to use their space for this collaborative post with SimRacingNation, where we're going to do an AMA, Ask Me Anything of a race driver. Thanks to everyone that submitted a bunch of questions. We got so many really cool ones here. So we're going to go through them now, and let's get into it. James asks, lots of motorsports dreamers like you and myself grew up with the fantasy of getting to F1. At some point though, most of us realize that real world motorsport is out of reach entirely, let alone the upper echelons. So I'm gonna answer that because I think it's a good question. But I will say that motorsport is not out of reach. And I think that's the problem. Like, it's actually infinitely more accessible than people think. And that's one of the things I want to change, is like making sure people know that they can actually make the jump into motorsport. It's actually quite simple, to be honest, even at all levels, right? So in the club level, you can go get an SCCA license. Even an FIA license is kind of simple to get. Yeah, it costs money, and I get that. And that's something that I struggle with as well, is trying to get the money to be able to do this stuff. So that is the barrier. But other than that, there is no barrier. You can literally just do it, and anyone can do it. I'm Hungrier Than You asks, did you scrap the MR2? All right, did you scrap the MR2? Well, a lot of you might not know, I actually started racing in time attack, so I built my own like SW20 MR2. No, I didn't scrap it. It's sleepy right now. So it's just in my garage. To be honest, we've been focusing on the racing stuff, so I haven't really had the opportunity to drive it, but should do that really soon. Sal asks, as someone who is fairly new to sim racing, who eventually wants to do some amateur real life racing, do you have any advice on what is a good transition from sim to real life when just starting out? First of all, dope. Really excited that you want to do some real racing. Wish you the best on that. As far as like jumping into real cars, honestly, just like the cheapest thing you can get. Like, you can buy a Miata and you can go like do HPDE and stuff like that. Like, I think that's like the normal answer that people give. But you can also, like, for very affordably, go and find a team that runs like a cheaper car. Like, I started in B-Specs, which is like little Mazda 2s in SCCA. You can find something like that where the budgets are a bit smaller and you get a lot of seat time and the cars are really reliable, but they're not like super fast. So you can just jump into them even without a ton of experience, and you probably do pretty well. That's what I would recommend. Patrick asks, what track car combo do you look forward to the most IRL? That's actually a very interesting question. I feel like Sebring and something with downforce. Maybe if I'm lucky, we can drive like a GTP or something like that at some point. That would be sick. But even like an LMP2, I think would be really cool at Sebring. So definitely that combo would be sick. James asks, do you have a go-to race number? And if so, what is its significance to you? I think 23 would probably be like very stereotypical for me to have. And it fits because my birthday is on the 23rd, so that's why we use 23. But I actually don't use 23. I use 25, because my dad, who died when I was young, his birthday is the 5th of February. So yeah, we use 25. Carrie asks, if you could take one element from IRL racing and integrate it into the sim, what would it be? And then vice versa from sim to IRL. I would say G-force. The sim is like really good for braking nowadays, and then like acceleration, obviously, like all your pedal stuff is pretty good, but also like the wheel settings are like pretty good as well. But the one thing that you don't get is G-force, and everyone talks about this, but I don't mean like in corners. I mean like under braking, under acceleration, stuff like that. I feel is really helpful, and you don't actually know what that feels like until you get into a car, and that's probably the most shocking or like sobering kind of feeling. So if you could replicate that somehow, that would be good. And then vice versa, from the sim into real life, definitely overlays. Like a lot of the times I don't know where I am. I don't know how much time is left. So if we could have overlays for like relatives, Race Labs, figure out some way to do this in AR, please. I think that would be really sick. Strovich asks, what kind of workout plan and meal plan do you stick to during the race season and the off season? Okay, so this one is actually very interesting because I don't think a lot of people realize, like, even outside of F1, like, you actually do have to be like quite fit to do well in a race car. Like, I know there's people that maybe aren't or whatever, and they probably do fine, but for me, I've been like an athlete my whole life, so doing racing is just another thing to prepare for. Obviously you want to be like as light as possible. I used to be actually quite heavy, so I've gotten that down just from your normal, like, just eating healthy and lifting and doing cardio. So there's no like specific plan, I would say, like whatever works for you. But also I have a lot of like aches and injuries from the past, so we do a lot of like strength and foundational kind of work, a lot of recovery kind of stuff, and it works to varying degrees, but I would say that's very important. Being flexible is very important, and obviously like trying to get good sleep, which I'm still working on, and also you know, just trying to be strong. I feel like if you can be strong in your legs and your arms, like, a lot of the other stuff will just kind of fill in. So I think that's very important. So no specific plan. Obviously try to eat well, obviously try to work out, but do what works for you, and just be healthy. James asks, as I'm sure you are a fearless driver, what form of motorsport makes you shake your head in disbelief that people choose to participate in? Well, I'm not fearless. Obviously I'm really new to this stuff, and the confidence and building the confidence is a really, really important thing that I don't think you can overstate. It is very, very important to build. That being said, people that do motorcycle racing, especially Isle Man, not for me at all. Morgan asks, if you received the opportunity to race in one major event in your career, which one would it be? I feel like the obvious one is like 24 Hours of Daytona or like 24 Hours of Le Mans or something like that. But to be honest, that's probably not the one that I want to do. I mean, I want to do those races, but I would want to do something like during an F1 weekend at COTA. So I live in Austin. I'm not from Austin, but I live in Austin. And there's usually cool support events that are happening during F1 weekend. I think doing something like that would be really, really cool. You get the home race, you get the F1 crowd, so you get to feel kind of like you're at F1 weekend. Obviously, other than that, would be to race in F1, which is not really attainable for me, but yeah, something on an F1 weekend at COTA would be top on the list for me. JD asks, most of us are probably familiar with the Praga name. What does the car drive like? And is there anything that handles similarly in the sim world? So this is really interesting, like getting into the Praga, which is like my first time jumping into like a high power, like high downforce car. Trying to replicate that in the sim was very difficult. I tried the LMP3 in a couple of different sims. I tried an actual Praga model, which didn't really work very well. Honestly, the like Super Formula Lights, like the F3 car, like the Euro Formula F3 car, that was like the most realistic because the Praga has like a ton of downforce and not a ton of mechanical grip. But it also has like really snappy power. Like it's very, very aggressive. The Super Formula Lights doesn't really do the aggressive power very well, but it's like enough that if you're on the edge, it can be very snappy and you can set it up to be snappy. So I would say that car. Yeah. Alex Lo-Fi asks, during a race, what would be one of your techniques to not crack under pressure when you're getting chased and or defending? And what also would be your tips and tricks to keep cool before a race? I struggle with this one a lot because the real life stuff, obviously there's so much more pressure, right? Like you have to not crash the car, you want to perform well, you know, you want to like be aggressive, but you don't want to be too aggressive. And for me, especially this past year, everything was like learning, everything was new. Every time we did a new lap, that was the fastest I had done before. That was a new condition that we'd driven in. So like staying cool, I would say, is just trying not to think about it. That's what I do. And I do this for everything. Like I just try to not overthink it. I struggle with that a lot, so that helps me. And then like as far as like cracking under pressure when like following and defending, to be honest, I don't really get a lot of pressure defending or attacking. I actually quite enjoy battling people. That's like the most fun part about racing for me. The laps on your own or like doing out laps and stuff is probably where I feel more pressure because I feel like there's more margin for error. So I don't really have strategies for that. Just be aggressive and just have fun. I feel like is the thing that helps me succeed in those kinds of situations. James asks, coming from the sim, what was the one major difference that you didn't consider or expect when making the transition into real world driving? Seat time. So in the sim, everyone says this whole like you can reset. We're not talking about that, right? Like we get it. That's been played out to death. It's really just the amount of time that you actually get to drive in general, but also before like a competitive session. So like if you show up on a race weekend, you get 20 minutes of practice, but there might be a red flag that says that you only get 1 minute of practice, right? Like you might get a lap. Frequently we would lose entire practice sessions to red flags and things like that. So that's a big barrier. And then also like qualifying and stuff like that. It's actually like really, really short, you know? So you don't get a ton of time to practice before racing. So you have to use the sim very effectively, and you have to be very, very meticulous about every second that you're in the car. All right, that's a wrap. Thanks to everyone that submitted their questions. I had an amazing time filming this AMA. Big shout out to SimRacingNation for hosting it. And we want to give a massive shout out to RaceClub Austin for allowing us to use their space. If you want to follow along, you can follow right here on YouTube at Daniel Oliver Racing, or over on Instagram at daniel.oliver25. We've got a ton of awesome things coming in the future, more content. And then make sure you also follow SimRacingNation and RaceClub Austin at their socials as well.